So this year, you went to NFT NYC.
Yes.
And you didn't want to go at first.
I didn't think there would be anything there for me to look at.
To your surprise, you were embraced by people like Mike Mongo, and people are saying super nice things for you, and it seemed to have all started when you went to that event.
Yes, I had a great time, and a lot of people said a lot of nice things about my artwork. And the reason I think it was that way, it was because my pictures weren't still life. They didn't look like Monet. They didn't look like Picasso. They didn't look like Andy Warhol. There was no Superman. They looked totally different than they were used to seeing. And that's why they embraced me, because it was new.
You know, it's interesting because you had told me you didn't really like to be known as a generative artist. I think people saw your art and it sort of looked like generative art, but they could tell there was something else going on.
Right. It wasn't just like fractals. It was something they knew was almost hand-drawn, because each picture was so different from each other picture. That's one of my main concerns when I draw pictures on the computer. Each picture is different from any other picture that I drew previously. I want to make sure that when people look at my art, they don't say, oh, that picture looks like this other picture, which looks like that other picture. No, each picture looks different from each other picture.
So let me ask you this. Mike Mongo, Sabet, NFT Now podcast host, Flame, and many others have started to call you a living legend or a pioneer. How does that make you feel that these people who are so big in this genre are finding your work now at 81 years old so inspirational?
Well, it gives me a great thrill, and also it makes me feel that my artwork is worth doing. The first time that I was really celebrated for my artwork was the first time I was published in Computer Graphics World. That is the main computer graphics magazine. February of 2002 was the first time they published me. And after that, I was actually in print. They gave me a 2-page spread in their magazine, and they called me the pioneer of digital art. They were the first ones to use that phrase, pioneer of digital art. They featured me 4 times. Why 4 times? There was no one else.
So are you excited now that you're going to be doing these ordinals and releasing so much of your art?
I hope everything will come to be, that people will recognize the difficulty in doing what I do, and not just think the computer does it. So far they're learning. People are first understanding what the computer can do. Even 6-7 years ago, people didn't understand what was going on with digital art. It all started when the iPhone came into being and the internet came into being, that people started to take pictures with their camera from their phone, and then they started to manipulate these pictures in various computer applications to make pictures from their photographs.
Why haven't you ever sold your work until now?
Well, I haven't sold it because I wasn't really that anxious to sell my work. It took a lot of work to make a picture. First of all, I had the printer, the X9880. It would take an hour to print. Then I would first have to put it on stretches to stretch the canvases to make it into a print and not just a canvas. I had to stretch it. It cost me $235 just to stretch it at that time. People didn't want to give me the money that I would want for the picture because they thought it was just something that came off the computer, and the computer was doing it.
So people didn't understand the value.
Right, they didn't understand the value, especially the value of the person that was making the picture. And since I didn't need the money, when I was younger, I was very lucky to make a lot of money with a regular job that paid a lot of money. Setting up pensions for unions using Fortran. I didn't want to get bothered with retail sales. I was an old man. Even at that time, I was over 65. I didn't want to start dragging pictures that were heavy to shows. It wasn't worth it to me. What was worth it to me was to make new art and to be published more and more, and for my art to be shown on Facebook, X, and different ways like that, that people would look and see my art and just tell me how much they loved it. That was good enough for me, for people to just love and like my art and tell me so.